All right, crypto update here on the 17th. So I think that Bitcoin is in an impulse move here. And on the weekly time frame, this is my count. We have wave 1, pullback, and I think we're currently finishing up wave 3. I'm looking for a pullback and another move higher after that. You can see here pretty clearly 5 waves in the weekly time frame, pullback. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, currently in the 5th wave of the 3rd wave. And on the daily time frame, we finally got some red candles. So you can see here 1, 2, 3 is probably right here, 4 and 5. So we finally get some red candles all the way from 74 down to 64. I think that's likely an A wave. I would expect maybe a bounce into the open tomorrow and then a sell-off into late March. As far as target goes, it can come all the way down here to low 60s, maybe high 50s, I think. Anything more than that might be a little bit excessive based on where we're at in the market. And then I'm expecting more upside. And the last move higher could be a big one. Because again, if you look at the dollar, I have the dollar going to the low 90s. Weekly demand is in the 90s. So the dollar is at 103 right now. We could be looking at Bitcoin hitting 100K, potentially 150K. And the 5th wave might be the biggest wave. So it remains to be seen. We are overextended here. Let's look at the weekly time frame here. So we're very overextended, but right now I think that's kind of a non-issue with all the ETFs being pumped, and the dollar is likely going to be going down. So I'm expecting this to pull back and then probably just be heading up like this. My original target was 80,000, but we already hit 74. So let's say we pull back to the low 60s, and I'll give you a target. If we pull back to the low 60s, based on what we've done so far, I'd be looking for 100K. So 100K on Bitcoin is probably coming. How will that affect the miners now? Let's go over Mara. So whichever scenario plays out on Mara, I think it's buy the dip. It's been straight down. It's overextended to the downside. I think that this is likely a WXY move, which means that after this has one more move higher, you're going to want to sell because we're likely going to come down, back down here to like single digits. So this is my count right here. I have this as a WXY. Try to make this an impulse move, but again, it's not impulsive. You want to look at like where this is headed to, or not where it's headed to, the angle. 45 degrees is usually an impulse move. So I want it to be on this side of 45 degrees. We're right here. We're at like a 25-degree angle. So it's more of a corrective move. And again, it invalidated a bunch too. So like if this is going to be a 5-wave move, I'd potentially be looking at it like this. But again, 1, 2, 3, 4th wave comes back into the 1st wave. It's not possible. So it's WXY in my opinion. So then you're looking at where can it go to? And I'm looking here at about 46 bucks minimum, potentially all the way up here to 63 bucks. So I do think that Mara is going to pump again. And I think this sell-off was kind of leading the Bitcoin sell-off because again on Friday, Bitcoin was selling off a little bit and Mara was actually positive, finished at 1932. So I think that where we're at here is, I think we're right here. So you can see here, we got a big move higher. Right here, big move higher, pullback, pullback, big move higher, pullback, chop, 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 another big higher. So I think that this is going to end up making one more move higher. I don't know how high it's going to go. It could potentially do this to the 1.61 fib up here at 56 bucks. 45 is the minimum though. If I were using just how far it's pulled back compared to this wave right here, that says 42 bucks. And again, I'm not even sure. This could have two different paths here. This right here looks like an impulse move to me, so I would say the number one path is this, like that, up here to like 45 bucks. But it's also possible that this is a very extended B wave, and this is a C wave, and it extends all the way down here to 13 bucks. There's a demand zone there. That's if Bitcoin goes to like the high 50s. Maybe this will go all the way down to 13 bucks. And then it would take off after that. And potentially see 60 bucks. So two different paths. I think this is probably a corrective move though, and this is an impulse move. So I think that the most likely scenario is we probably bottomed here, and it's probably going to start moving up here. But there are some nested moves in this right here. And it's right on the line for being an impulse move. Here would be the nested move right here. I'll show you the nested move. This is a C wave. Let's say this is a B wave right here. So A, B, C like this. This could be a nested move as well. So 1, 2, I messed that up. Okay, 1, 2, we'd be in a third wave. So be aware of this, because this could potentially be 1, 2, 3, 4, probably fifth wave. You come down here, and then you bounce out of it one more time, and then you have the final flush down here to 13 bucks. So be aware of that, because the market probably is going to be selling off over the next couple of weeks. It's either this or it's an ABC move. If it's ABC, then we're looking at this as a first wave. And that would likely mean we bottomed already. Or maybe one more move down here to like 16 bucks. So again, either way, going higher, it's just a matter of are we going to come down here and bottom in this demand zone, which we already bounced out of, or are we going to come down here and fill the gap at 1374 before going higher? But again, my minimum target is 45 bucks. So we'll see if it hits. The dollar's going to get weaker. It makes a lot of sense. Cleanspark. This one could potentially be a 5-wave move. It's different than Mara, and it has been stronger than Mara. So this one actually has the potential to be a 5-wave move pretty clearly. We have 1, 2, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Potentially something like that. And that would only be the third wave. Pull back and then come up here. If we zoom out here on the weekly time frame, we have this move, pull back. If I'm using parallel lines, the top up here is actually in the 80s. So I don't know if it's going to go that high. That's a very large number, obviously, because that would be like a 5 times from here. But it's possible because, again, parallel line is showing 73 bucks. So potentially, Cleanspark is definitely the more strong miner compared to Mara. And I don't think they did dilution. I think Mara did dilution. So potentially on this pullback, you buy in, you could make pretty good money. And if we zoom in here a little bit, let's just look at this. Pretty clear fourth wave. I think there's probably a little bit more. It looks to me like this is probably going to end up being going to maybe 14 bucks. There is a demand zone right here. There's a gap down here. I don't think it's going to get to 10 bucks though. That would be kind of crazy. I guess there's not on the daily. Let's look at the 4-hour. So it's been hitting in this demand zone and bouncing out. But I don't think it's bottomed yet. So the max it can go, in my opinion, is max is 11 bucks. That'd be a pretty big sell-off. But if we zoom out here, let's just see if that would invalidate the whole move. That would not invalidate the whole move. And crypto these miners are so volatile that it's possible. So it's possible it could come down here and fill this gap. I would say it's unlikely, but again, that is the next demand zone. So if there's a big sell-off in the market, you never know. But again, this looks like to me that we're in a third wave of a third wave here. Because I would say this could be a third wave, but again, this comes back into the first wave. And so you can't have that. You can't have that on a third wave. This has to be the end of the third wave right here. So Cleanspark is definitely the better buy of the two. And if you want to average in right here, I think you can make pretty good money. So again, the dollar I showed in the last video, the market update, dollar is probably going into the 90s. So I think that miners are still a good buy. And I think that we have the halving coming up here in April. And that's probably going to take everything much, much higher. And so maybe it consolidates all the way to the halving. The halving is in April. We could have a fourth wave in Bitcoin going on for the next couple of weeks. And potentially these could go lower and be a very good buy. So those are the only two I've really gone over. And then Bitcoin. I have a few other cryptos I haven't done charting on in a while, but I'm going to leave it at that for this video. That was Mara, Cleanspark, and Bitcoin. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe for more updates. Catch you in the next video.